Hey everybody, welcome back to the last video in this series where I cover Araroa. In my last video, I finished the South Island, and now I only have about 1,000 kilometers left on the North Island, and I'll have completed the entire trail. After completing the South Island, I visited my cousin in Dunedin and took a plane to Wellington, New Zealand's capital and the southernmost point of the North Island. The trail took me through Wellington Botanical Garden, and after a few days of walking north, I reached the start of the Tararua Range in Waikanae. Good morning, everybody. It is April 5th. We are starting the Tararuas today. So that's, I think, the scariest mountain range on the North Island. All right, we're making our way up to the ridgeline. There's a ridgeline today that we're going up to. Forgot to say that earlier. All right, we made it to the ridgeline. Just about 2.5 miles left to go for today. The wind is picking up a little bit now that the trees are, or now that we're above tree line, but still not too bad. I'm hoping you guys can hear me above the wind. Hopefully these clouds aren't angry clouds. That'd suck. All right, almost at the hut. I also realized that I don't think I've ever done a hut tour, like shown around of what the inside of a hut looks like. So I think I'm gonna do that tonight. Sorry about waiting for so long. It's been like 4 months. I never even thought about doing a hut tour. So anyways, better late than never. So we're gonna do that tonight. Good morning, everybody. I decided to do a hut tour now instead of last night because it was pretty dark. But anyways, we are in the hut. It's a 8-bunk hut. We have 4 mattresses down here, and there's 4 up in the loft. And then the huts typically are anywhere from like 6 bunks to up to 24 bunks, where we'll have actually multiple rooms with like bedrooms and stuff. The 6 bunk huts are in different layouts, so it'll just literally be bunk beds instead of like this kind of loft layout. And some of the huts have sinks. This one looks like has a drainage, but there's actually no faucets. And then a lot of the huts will also have some cooking utensils. Like for example, a frying pan, or usually they'll have like a pot, and maybe even some silverware, but pretty much never have stoves or anything like that, so you have to bring your own. And then there's, I'm realizing I'm doing this entire tour without like leaving my bed, but I don't really want to walk over there. But there's also a closet, there's like a broom over there. And a lot of huts will also have like either a hatchet or a saw, so you could saw firewood. So I guess that's it for the tour. I hope you guys found that educational. In other news, it's 10 a.m. I have not left yet because I was like, I'll wait for the rain to stop. I can't really film when it's raining because my fingers get wet and the phone gets wet. And I can't actually use my phone because the phone screen just gets all soggy. So, yeah. Good morning, everybody. It is the following day. Yesterday, I didn't really walk very far. I only went about 8 kilometers, and I was like, I am wet, cold, and miserable, and I just decided to spend the night at this tiny little hut. 2 bunks, actually quite nice, and I just wanted to let all my stuff dry out because everything was soaked. Literally the only pair of clothes right now that are not soaking wet are my sweater and a single pair of underwear. And today there's also going to be a 2-kilometer section of continual ridgeline exposure. So that could be quite scary, especially with the gusts. Yeah, last night I had a nightmare where I was in grad school, and I had forgot to read a paper before like lab meeting, and I was really stressed out because I was supposed to be presenting on it, and I just didn't even read the paper. And when I woke up, I was like, I would rather be in the nightmare than where I am now, like having to than having to walk through all this wind and this rain and like almost die. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Wish me luck.
I didn't record anything from later that day due to the wind and rain, but the conditions were similar to this footage, courtesy of Ambient Hikes. The wind was blowing about 60 miles an hour, and there were several places where you could not walk and had to crawl on your hands and knees.
Okay, we're almost at Levin. Yesterday I also did a pretty short day. It was pretty miserable. I wasn't able to film anything because my hands were so wet, but yeah, we made it. Today's been really nice, almost no wind at all. Just a couple sprinklings of rain, but like nothing more than like 5-10 minutes, so really nice. And then the sun has actually sort of come out, so that's pretty chill. I am now at a toilet. Young children must be supervised. We are now at Fielding, New Zealand's most beautiful town. That's pretty crazy. Okay, so I'm now walking along the Wanganui River. I just left Rob and George's house, their trail angels I was with last night, and I just put on my new shoes, and I'm feeling good so far.
I should also mention that most hikers doing Te Araroa usually raft down the Wanganui River going south, but because I'm going north and so late in the season, I decided to walk along the road, which covers most of the river, and then do a detour for the rest of the way. Hello everybody. We are now at a bridge over a ravine that feeds into the Wanganui River. And I thought I'd do a little experiment with you guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the drop into the ravine, and I want you guys to guess how far this drop is, how many meters or feet. So that's the water down there, and we're up here. So I want you guys to guess, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop this rock, and then using physics, we're gonna figure out how far this bridge is above the water. Okay, I'm gonna drop it in 3, 2, 1. All right, so that was about 3 seconds, according to my my estimate. And if we multiply that by 3 again, because we're squaring it, and then additionally we multiply it by 4.8, we get about 130 feet. So it's about 43 meters. So if you guys got that right, congratulations, you guys are good at estimating heights. After walking along the Wanganui River, I walked through Raitihi and around Mount Ruapihu to reconnect with the trail in Whakapapa National Park, just before the Tongariro crossing. We are now on the Tongariro crossing. I believe we're gonna crest over one of those 2 saddles. But the weather's super nice, a little cloudy, but not really windy at all. Purple water. After finishing the Tongariro crossing, I walked through the 42 traverse track, north to a town called Taumaranui, and finally to a bike path called the Timber Trail. For dinner, I decided to go a little bit fancy. I have Doritos. This is the big share bag. and then we also have some salsa. I just have a tent. It's gonna be a cold night, I think. I can feel it in my bones. Looks like there actually was some frost last night. How's it going, everybody? So I just finished the timber trail about 2 days ago, and when I finished, I was basically completely out of food, and I was like, okay, I'll hitchhike to the next town, which is called Tikawiti, get some food, and keep on going. But when I got hitched finally, the people giving me a ride were like, oh, if you want, you can come down to Taranaki. That's where we're going. So I was like, oh, sure. That was actually on my list of places to do side trips. And I was like, well, now's the perfect time. They gave me a lift all the way there. It was like a 2.5 hour drive. Looks like the clouds are blocking the sunset a little bit, but it's still a very nice view. There's the mountain up there, Mount Taranaki. Yeah, I imagine if those clouds were there, we could see straight out to sea. Good morning, everybody. It's now the 28th, I think. Yeah, it was actually not really cold in the hut last night. This hut is like crazy well insulated, so I don't even think it got below like 5 degrees Celsius. I still have, I think what I'm gonna do for Araroa is I'm probably just gonna skip the Auckland-Hamilton section. That's about 200 kilometers or so. I've done about 300 kilometers of side trips. So I'm thinking that as long as the number of kilometers I do on side trips makes up for the amount that I'm skipping or have hitchhiked, then I'll consider the trail done. So I think I'll take it easy today. Tomorrow I'll go back to Tikawiti and do the rest of the trail up to Hamilton. And then at that point I'll be like, okay, I'm finished. I think we're getting a nice sunset tonight. I've kind of just been lying here in my sleeping pad, just looking up at the sky for a bit. One other thing is that the forest makes like a perfect ring around the mountain. If you look at a satellite map, it's basically like a perfect circle. There's a couple splotches here and there where it deviates, but apparently it's naturally forming. A lot of people have compared it to Mount Fuji, how it's just like a perfect triangle. And everything about it is just very symmetrical. After taking the day off on Mount Taranaki, the next morning I walked down the mountain and began hitchhiking the 200 kilometers back to Tikawiti to rejoin the trail. It's a horse. Haha. Very friendly horse. I think his friend is jealous. I actually don't know how to pet a horse. I'm not sure if you're supposed to like pet a certain part of it. Also, news update. There's this one granola bar that I'm trying for the first time. White chocolate and gingerbread. This is insanely good. This is so good. So far, my top granola bars have been the chocolate Nature Valley bars, the Mega Nuts, it's like Ultimate Nut or something like that. There's like a ton of nuts in there. And then I think this is probably maybe second place or third place. This is really good. Looks like somebody doesn't like feijoas. I bet if I filtered water from down there, it would taste like feijoas. I'm not gonna do it though, because it's like street water. Kind of nasty. You can see all the ponga from here. In the day, it would be a lot harder to determine which ones are ponga, but all the tree ferns with the white undersides, the silver undersides, are the New Zealand silver fern. We have a rare sighting of a chocolate milk cow. Very rare cow to see around here among all the regular milk cows. How's it going, everybody? It is the next day, May 2nd. I got to the Trail Angels place last night and it turned out Steven was there, so that was a really awesome surprise. I was not expecting to see him. I got to talk to him about his experience in the Tararua, and that was interesting to see what he did. Apparently he went up to Nichols' hut the day I went to Dracophyllum, and he chilled at Nichols and then took a day off and was with another guy who was going Sobo, and they hung out and took a zero there, which honestly, in retrospect, I definitely should have done that as well. It was pretty stupid of me to go to Te Matawai from Dracophyllum. That was incredibly dangerous. Yeah, genuinely, I think I probably could have died on that. So, yeah, I probably also should have walked with him because I think it's a lot safer, especially in those types of conditions, to walk with another person. So, yeah. So I got to talk to him, and that was pretty cool. And then now I'm on Parongia Mountain, which is, I think, like that one or that one. It's a lot like Raitea, where there's a lot of up and down, mostly up at this point because we're ascending a ridge line, some mud. But luckily this is the last big mountain of the entire trail. Come on, cow, eat up. This is your favorite. Yummy, yummy. All right, we're camping up at the top of a mountain. Someone gave me a banana. That's pretty cool. Good morning, everybody. It is now May 6th. My flight is in 2 days. I'm in Huntley, and my plan at the moment is just to take a bus up to Auckland and then call the trail done from there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for making it to the end. I'm going to post another video where I go over all the gear I used while on Te Araroa for anyone curious, and I have another few videos coming up on my recent thru hike of Pennsylvania's Midstate Trail. Until then,